up, so you actually need to hook a regular battery charger up to the battery, let it bring it up for a little while, then plug your battery charger, battery maintainer on the boat in. And as well, going with the batteries, one thing you definitely don't want to do is pop the little caps off and look inside and check your water. And if you're low on water, you want to put distilled water in there. And that's very important because if there's no water in your batteries and you go to charge them, what's going to happen is the plates are going to separate and they're not going to hold voltage. And you're probably going to be calling me to see what's going on.
Anybody has a few questions, just raise your hand. I have a few. I want to know what's the more quality trolling motor that you've seen. I guess the lease that comes into the shop that you can point these guys in if they're purchasing a trolling motor anytime soon. What's the best? What's quality?
Well, I highly recommend Minn Kota trolling motors. I stand behind them. And anything in the, specifically talking about saltwater world, fishing around in St. Tammany Parish on the North Shore, fishing a lot of current and wind, you typically want to buy a little bit more than you think you need. Everything starts in, you're either going to get an 80 or 24 volt, 2 batteries, 80 pound thrust. That's my most common typical motor for your 18 and 21 foot range boat. Anything else, if you have the room for the battery, 3 batteries and the budget allows, I highly recommend a 36 volt motor, which is 112 pounds of thrust. And that's what's going to keep you where you need to stay when you're fishing that hard, falling tide. And it does make a difference, and you want to have good batteries. Route 27 deep cycle lead acid batteries, that's my most common batteries you're going to see. That's typically what you're going to want to do, but Minn Kota is the way to go. Anything in the saltwater Fortrex, it's a very popular motor, a hand-operated motor. And as well now as there's wireless trolling motors with the iPilot capability, which has an electronic anchor and holds you right in the spot and does the majority of the work for you. So that's my most popular and common motor that I sell.
What is the minimum thrust that if somebody wanted to primarily fish Lake Pontchartrain, fish the bridges, trestles, Causeway, what's minimum, at least what they need out there?
The minimum you're going to need is at least an 80 pound thrust. That's the best what you're going to start at, and it's a little bit in Minn Kota's motor. It's a much better motor at the bottom end, and I see a lot less problems with the 80s and 112s over the 70 pound thrust.
All right, so I know, do we have any kind of preventative maintenance other than stay away from ethanol? Do you deal with motors as far as, what about boats?
Yeah.
You rig them with electric?
And it's like I said, I do sell trolling motors, fix trolling motors, install trolling motors, electronics, pretty much everything but the main engine we do at the shop. And one thing we talk about is a lot with your male-female plug on the boat. That's the place where I see the most problems. Just like everything on the boat, it needs to be maintained. And the best way to maintain any of your electrical connection is put dielectric grease all over everything. That's the best. It's a corrosion inhibitor, because what's going to happen if you start getting a lot of corrosion, which is that kind of green, powdery looking substance that grows, what's going to happen is the corrosion is going to cause resistance. Resistance causes heat, and heat causes fire. So if you ever had anybody that had a melting plug or anything like that, that's a good indication of what happened there.
All right, now, you're located off of Florida, correct? What are we looking for? This Gator Power Sports thing left?
Yep.
You're behind there? Okay. That's Todd Schultz. Now, Todd brings two skills to the game here. He's going to talk about trolling motors. Now we're going to talk about a little Causeway fishing. How's the season been? What are you seeing out there? I know you troll that Causeway a lot. Do you ever do any jigging, or you strictly troll?
For the last, since the winter time, over Christmas, we've been trolling out there, and we've been doing pretty well. It was a little slow in some of the mornings, but every fish was at least 5 pounds. And, we were catching, between 6 and 10 fish, fishing for 2 hours before going to work in the morning. But they've been doing real well out there. Actually, a buddy of mine's out there right now. They're doing real well. And we were trolling, mainly all trolling with rattle traps and B2 squid for the trailers. And a lot of the fish were coming on the trailers. And it varies. I was trolling just Power Pro on. We use Ambassador open lever drag reels with 7-foot rods and kind of medium to heavy action, and just let a lot out. And we do have a lead line that we put down, and that was actually pretty productive this year. We were catching them mainly on the trailer, on the green trailer, or they're kind of clear, the smoke color, and did pretty well.
You see any bait fish out there?
There wasn't too much bait in the last couple of weeks, but I've been seeing a lot of bait in the bayous, and Captain Andy was saying there's a lot of bait out there today, and so it should definitely start turning on, and then the jig and bite will start to take over here in the next couple of weeks, and to be bouncing the pines.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming out, Todd, and I appreciate you being a supporter of NFR since the beginning. Since I was nothing, walked in there and you said, who are you again?
we started at the same time.
I fight for you, you fight for me. I appreciate you coming out and sharing some knowledge. Good luck turkey hunting tomorrow.
Thank y'all.